Whatever.
Were they checking their guns too? Were they packing?
They usually
They
put
were
under
packing,
the,
but
yeah,
they
under
no,
the
but they
table.
never checked. They never checked the guns.
And the women, the
So-
girls.
I like how you go like this.
The women, and they don't.
All right, there's a big change already.
Oh
Big
my God!
change
Hi
already.
everybody.
I've been fired.
Yeah, no, not yet.
Getting replaced.
No.
Wait,
you're- no.
I get fired first.
The name we told you. The name of the podcast is.
Unanchored.
And we
But-
made a big freaking deal about it.
Yeah, but it is not that anymore. It is now so unanchored.
And oh no, so unanchored.
So
So.
unanchored.
I like that because I tend to start every sentence with "so." I don't
Yeah.
mean to,
Yeah.
but
Yeah,
now it makes sense.
and I do the same.
And we also found out that there were several other shows with similar names.
There
and
were
it's
other
confusing
unanchored
to you.
people.
So we are so
unanchored.
so
But
unanchored.
What the best was when you brought it up, and you brought it up very much like a Valley
Yeah,
guy.
well, I'm a Valley guy.
I know, me too.
Yeah, yeah.
What'd you say? Because I missed the meeting
was
apparently.
like,
I showed up on
"What?
time and missed the meeting.
Why don't we call it like so,
So-
unanchored? I was like, oh, totally.
That was you?
Yeah, he was
So-
very cute. You missed it.
Gagged me with a spoon.
Totally grossed
All
me
right.
out.
So welcome to So Unanchored. My name is Steve Edwards.
I'm Jillian Bobry.
Dorothy Lucy?
There you go.
We're
and
so happy to see you
we're doing
guys.
it again. There are a lot of topics to put on the table today.
Can I bring up one?
My father's finger. Go ahead.
Yeah, let's bring up, you'll interrupt what I'm saying. That's the first one.
God, your father's finger is way more interesting. I will just say my husband noticed that when you go to our little pod, there's a transcript, like where the,
But it's only the first
McNeil
line.
Lair
It's-
report.
It's only the first three lines.
But
though.
who could listen to us? Okay, your dad's finger.
Yeah.
Well, he's got diabetes, and he,
Oh.
he's been taking care of himself for many years very well. Where's my camera? Is that it? I don't know where to look. Taylor, where do I look?
Oh my God, you're Steve. Remember when
Yeah, it's Tom Hanks.
Tom Hanks, Steve doesn't ever know where to look.
Steve is like this. Okay, so he has diabetes. He's 88. He's always taking care of it. Okay. But I don't know what happened. And now they're like, he has an infection, and it went through his hand all the way up his arm.
he still in
He's
the
in the
hospital?
hospital, yes. And the infectious disease person came in. Oh, can we talk about the rat disease that's going around that Gene Hackman's wife died of? And now it's coming here.
Slow it down. We'll get to
Sorry.
all of it. Okay.
Anyway, my dad's in Canada.
One pandemic at a time.
One disease at a time.
Yeah.
So they might have to.
Oh, there's another name.
It's our show.
They
One
might have
disease
to-
at a time. Yeah, they might have to amputate his finger. The good news is he's ambidextrous.
Wait, didn't you have a brother-in-law who was missing?
Yes, he's missing a hand, but he blew that up in a
Also have one who's
firecracker.
missing.
A penis.
No.
That's the raccoon.
Those are your husbands. No, I'm
That's
talking about.
RFK Jr.'s raccoon is missing
No,
that.
I'm
They were in
talking.
my purse.
Punchline was a funny punchline there.
was it?
You missed it. Yeah.
Did you hear mine? Mine was hilarious.
Hear it.
So, by the way, as you, when your former husband sue us
This
now.
is the beginning of a show?
Okay, so
Okay, we have many topics.
Which one? Go ahead.
you had one without a leg.
What?
No.
Without an
hand.
arm. Without an arm.
I thought it was the whole arm. It's only he's missing his
Oh, just
hand.
his hand. But the
Okay.
best is
Yeah.
that my ex-husband, the former Major League Baseball player, was an avid surfer. We lived in Huntington Beach. And he said to my brother-in-law, Bill, who's still with my sister, hey, you want to go surfing? And Bill's like, yeah. And Bill never lets his amputation
Get in the way.
He's a great golfer, blah, blah, blah. Never been surfing. So he puts on his wetsuit. They go out.
There is a
and
lot of paddling
we
involved.
cannot, a lot in circles. We can't find Bill. 2 hours go by. Brett comes back and he's like, and he's such a surfer and very Valley. He's like, yeah, I don't know where the dude went. So we have to go to a lifeguard now. And the lifeguard goes, what does he look like? And my sister
No,
goes,
let me stop you here. Listen, we found a guy with one hand, only one hand. But what is he wearing? We want to make sure it's the right guy out in the water with one
Everybody
hand.
wears a wetsuit and they all look like
this is
seals.
true story. I said, well, he's got a wetsuit on, but it's on backwards and the zipper's in the front. And he's got one hand,
Yeah.
and he's legally blind without his glasses.
Don't you think though? That's,
And the guy
don't,
goes,
And your
you let him
sweet
in the
ex
water?
left him.
don't you think? Wait a minute. Just saying that his one hand is enough for a
I
description.
know. I said he's probably paddling in circles. However, this was the best part.
He was found.
Well, we walk down to the pier and we see Bill with the surfboard under his arm, walking up to different people, thinking it's us. And he's like, hello? And he's and I was peeing my pants laughing.
And people are leaning over to shake his hand. Where are we going with this?
Are there?
No handshake.
Just stop.
Oh my God.
Oh my God! Look, we have this. I stole your lipstick. Look, we're
Is it
lipstick
Peak?
twins.
Is it PQ? PIQ?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
It's the best. You know this is Gucci
copied
Westman.
you.
Please don't talk about makeup.
Okay, Steve has topics.
You have podcasts to talk about makeup, right? I don't want to talk. Okay. No, here. Why don't we kick it off with this one?
Yes. I think we kicked it off 10 minutes ago with the one-handed guy, but whatever.
Go ahead.
That was a minute ago.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
It was a
Dorothy.
long story.
Dorothy.
Yes, Steve.
You've had jobs other than this. You've had
Yes.
jobs.
I was a
other than
waitress for 2 weeks.
And I thought of what. Let it breathe. We'll get to it.
Worse than my husband, always telling me what to do.
Well, we just let me finish one sentence in this podcast
One.
before you jump in. Okay.
One.
So, is that it? That was it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mom and Dad, stop
So,
playing.
what are the jobs you had, and what was the most difficult, or how bad were you in a job, or whatever?
OnlyFans. That was really hard.
Can we go back to the one-handed mother-in-law?
I don't have nipples, so OnlyFans was really hard.
I have one nipple over here.
Can I borrow it?
Oh,
Well, we're
another.
going to save up for nipples for you. No, that was
I
for
don't
Lisa
want
B.
'em.
That was for Lisa B.
I
Yeah.
was looking into OnlyFans because
Yeah.
it's not just sex on there. There are chefs. There are a lot of people that do other things, and you can make a lot of money.
Mm-hmm.
Then when I brought it up to my kids, immediately they started screaming, like, no. And I said, back up. It's not like, I know Carmen Electra's on there, and that's more of a sexy thing. But there are people that do other things.
And there's that show that I always screw up the name that we're both watching. Margot Needs Money or Margot Has Money. Or
Yeah,
that,
but hers is like
OnlyFans show.
lactating stuff. Like, I'm sure if there was an audience out there that loved women who don't have nipples anymore and they had Franken tits and stuff, maybe there's a niche audience for that and I could become a gazillionaire.
Very
I
niche.
wouldn't need to win the
I
art
want to
show.
stay with your topic
Yes,
so you
Steve.
don't get cranky, but we are going to talk about
I'm
nipples
cranky already.
again in a few minutes because
Okay.
oddly that was a topic I
Because
submitted.
of the Met Ball?
Yes.
Okay.
But okay, jobs. I was a waitress for 2 weeks. You know the
Did
story,
you get
right?
fired?
No, but I left and like never quit and never. Oh, it's a shame. I've never
What'd you
done
do?
this
Give
in
it-
my
no,
life.
No, paint the scene. Tell us
Okay,
the story.
it was a cute little restaurant
Where is
in
this?
Northern Virginia,
Okay.
in McLean, and they had a Caesar salad that you had to make at the table.
Oh, dear.
And I never learned how to make it. So whenever anybody ordered it, I would just say we're out of it. But then they would have it at the next table. And
By the way,
just
how could you
sucked
be-
at being
How
a
hard is it
waitress.
to make a Caesar
Also,
salad?
how
was
could
a
you
whole thing. It
how
was
could
like
you
a
be out of
show.
a Caesar salad? It's just a bunch of lettuce and crap, right?
No.
Okay.
There were capers, there was garlic.
Oh, yeah.
I was afraid to go in the kitchen because everybody was mean. It was the bear in there. Everybody was
Oh,
mean.
shoot.
And so one day I just like
Left.
didn't show up for work. I've never done this in my life before or since. And true story, I didn't go in that restaurant for 2 years, even though it was like a
course.
block from my
Yeah.
house. I went in, my girlfriend talked me into going back in. I went in and the manager came over to me and he said, I have 2 checks for you. And they were both like $9 because you know you made nothing as a
Yeah.
waitress. But I was like, I'm so sorry I forgot to quit.
I forgot to quit. I just left.
Okay, but I worked at clothing stores too, forever. And you know I worked for the government. I worked for customs a million years ago.
No. What did you do in customs?
You don't know that?
No.
There are
Strip
things about
searches.
me you don't know. I had a summer job for 2 summers, just, you know, being a government grunt employee.
Doing what?
I opened mail for the government. It was a horrible job. Worst job ever.
Were you supposed to?
Oh, wait a minute.
Where's that?
wait.
Government
That,
transportation.
that will lead to one of my jobs.
The
But go
Ministry
ahead.
of
No, finish.
Transportation.
You finish. Go ahead.
Okay. So, you know, it's the weird thing. Not that I was doing anything important. It was mostly like kind of secretarial. But I had a higher security clearance than my dad, who worked for the Justice Department,
Really?
because I was working in internal affairs. I was
Oh,
a flunky,
shoot. Oh, my
but
God.
just because of the department I
How
was in.
awesome.
So
I
you
mean,
were-
they
were you
went
in
to
a-
all my
were you
neighbors.
in a
They
big-
did all.
But you
I
could
was
have
like,
read, like-
I was like 17.
Were
they
you
did
in
a
a big
security
building
background.
in Washington?
Yes,
I mean,
the huge one. The one that's 3 buildings.
so-
yeah. Well, that's cool. I didn't know that.
That's so cool.
So my son,
By the way, you're being investigated now.
my son, whose birthday it is today,
Oh, happy birthday,
Happy
Nash.
birthday,
Are we
Nash.
allowed to mention?
best person I
Yeah,
know.
of course it'll be last week by the time.
Whenever we go through customs anywhere, I always
Yeah.
say to everybody, I used to work for customs, and there's like the eye roll from my son that goes all the way back.
Yeah, I mean, it's
And
like-
they
But I
immediately-
did.
They immediately pull you aside.
Okay, those are
that-
my
Search
jobs.
you.
You don't have to rush through. That was very good. It's an excellent telling of the story. You see, it's good. You breathe
Well
a
done,
little bit.
to
It
the
was
point.
good.
We got it.
B minus, B.
I liked it.
Be my love tonight.
Be my love tonight.
All right, so-
How about you?
Well, you said something that reminded me. For 2 weeks once over Christmas vacation when I was in college, we had an inn, and I worked for the post office.
Okay.
And I worked for the post office at the huge Grand Central Post Office in New York City.
Holy crap! In Union Station?
Near Grand Central Station.
Grand
yes.
Central, yes.
And
Oh my gosh.
and
You were a postal worker? You went postal?
And
I went postal.
they trained me for a moment. They had something like this table, but it was a little conveyor belt, and they showed you the mail came down. Start thinking Lucille Ball with this
Oh,
thing.
God.
All right, so the mail comes down, and
Yes.
you take this mail, and this goes to Brooklyn, and this goes to Queens, and this goes to Jersey, and this goes to Europe, and this goes to here and there, and this thing comes down slowly, and then you take it, and you put it there, and you take this one, you put it
And
there.
then,
Yeah, you take it, and then you push there. And then they say, okay, you're ready. And they take you out to the big room, and the big room is like a hangar. And then I look at the table, the conveyor belt, and it's like a runway. It's so big. And they say, okay, you're ready, let's go. And now it's going, and I'm standing with other people, and it starts coming faster and faster. And okay, this goes to Queens, and this goes here.
you were a little kid.
I was about 19. This goes here, this goes there, and it's going faster now. And I didn't have my nerves broke down. I wasn't emotionally, but things are now flying everywhere. And so suddenly now mail is supposed to go to Taiwan. It's going to Pittsburgh. I want to apologize, but those of you who didn't get your Social Security checks all those
Ever.
years ago, I know you're all dead by now,
Yeah.
but I'm really sorry about that. So eventually, everything is flying everywhere. So things that are supposed to
Anxiety.
go to Brooklyn are going to Kazakhstan. I mean, it's just
Bangkok, with a B.
nothing is working. I kind of got it down. It lasted 2 weeks. I would tell you, I was drenched with sweat.
Oh, yeah.
When it was over. Yeah.
I had a job at the Ministry of Transportation in Toronto, and it was for the summer, and I absolutely hated it. I worked in a video store, absolutely loved it, and my clientele, if I may, were
what
the
kind
mob.
of what kind of video store?
Not an expert. Well, we did have those movies
The
too.
Mob.
The mob.
I got a mob store
And
too. Go
not
ahead.
only the mob, he was the biggest mobster, but I didn't really.
He owned the store.
He was the biggest mobster in Montreal, ran the entire Ontario sect with the Bonanno family in New York.
What was his name?
Johnny Papalia. And
Oh,
what's it
you're
called?
making it up. Come on, Johnny Papalia.
No, Johnny Pops Papalia. He's called the Enforcer.
Wow.
And not
Now-
only did
now
I
I'm
know
afraid that
Johnny
I said it,
Pops,
yeah.
I knew his brother Frank Papalia. They used to come in with the fedora hats,
Was he
rep
mom?
movies,
Was
and
he
I'd say,
Moms? Moms?
What?
What was his name? Moms?
His name
Papalia?
was, no, his name was the fucking Enforcer.
No, the other guy was Bob
Don't
Papalia.
interrupt my goddamn story.
I'm being Dorothy now.
Oh. So
I'm
anyway,
sorry, I
long story
apologize.
short, I get in an accident
Switzerland.
with my car. And my dad goes, oh, we got to get a door for your car. And I go, okay. So he knows all the people in Streetsville and Hamilton. So we go to this auto body shop. And big fat Pat Mositano's there. There's Johnny Papalia right there.
Oh,
I'm going to tell you
right.
this story. Read The Enforcer.
I'm not
There's
gonna-
movies on him. He's incredible.
By the way,
But I
what-
used to say to Johnny Pops when he come in, I go, you
What?
already saw that movie. And nobody would talk to him because they're scared of him. But he liked me. Okay.
Yeah.
Getting back to
Were you-
Fat Pat Mositano, his brother Angelo. So
Wait,
we go
you
in there,
needed-
we need a door.
you
My
needed a door.
father says, get me a door. But he says it nicely. And Fat Pat sees me and I'm 16 and he's like, I like her.
Good.
And he sends me flowers. And now my dad's like, ooh, shit. And I'm like, what's the ooh, shit? And I go, I'm not going out with the Fat Pat bastard. And he goes, well, he's kind of like,
Yeah, you know.
and I'm like, I'm still not going out with him. Years later, I moved to Montreal, then I moved to Florida. What happens? Fat fucking Pat Mositano, you bastard. He's dead now. He hires
so-
an asshole to
Yeah.
go and
find
shoot. No, shoot Johnny Pops Papalia, not even a mobster, in the back of the head, kills Johnny Pops. Completely unethical. Didn't even
Wow.
get permission.
Wow.
He's not. The guy wasn't. His name was Wayne. He wasn't even a fucking
He
Italian.
didn't get permission from the mob.
No, outrageous. Then Fat Pat gets rat-a-tat-tat right down in front of the video store where I used to rent to the Papalias. Check this out in my hometown of Burlington, Ontario. Then Angelo, who has bulletproof windows.
What
in
Angelo's was
Hamilton.
Angelo's
His
full
brother.
name?
I never watched The Sopranos, so I can't really follow
Oh my
this.
God. So Angelo, bulletproof, married, da da da. They drive by, brrr, but nothing happens because he's got bulletproof until one day. Angelo pulls up, two guys run up, rat-a-tat-tat in his driveway, dead ski, they're all dead. Johnny Papalia rests in.
All this happened
Wow.
at your video store.
Yes.
Yeah, all
and
the-
I knew the biggest mobsters in Canada, and I didn't even know
All
that
the-
he ran the whole frickin' mob in Canada.
And this is all while you're giving them the sound of music.
Then guess what? Guess what?
What?
I'm talking to my
What?
dad years later,
Mm-hmm.
like last time I visited.
Yeah.
And I go, Dad, Johnny Pops. He goes, well, yeah, I worked for them. And I go, what?
What?
My dad, an electrician, did all the wiring.
Oh,
for
he's
their-
mobbed up.
He's mobbed up.
You're
And
mobbed up.
why he liked them? He worked. They paid cash.
Yeah.
My dad always had like the thickest wallet and a rubber band around it, but his pants were all baggy and shit. And he looked like he was homeless. And he'd go in to buy my mom diamonds and stuff. And he'd go, I'd like to buy my wife something.
Yeah.
And then it'd be like Pretty Woman.
God, you know what? Your waitress story is nothing.
Very boring.
Nothing
Oh,
compared to
really?
that.
Well, I worked as a hostess.
Okay, I got a mob.
I was
Wait, wait.
fired.
My
I
role
got a
was to
mob.
be the boring one.
I got a mob story. I worked at a pretty well nightclub in New York called the Round Table, and they told me
The mobsters met there.
I think they owned it, and they would told me. Well, let me
Is
set
this
it
when
up
you were
this way.
drumming?
No, this was another. That's not
That
your
was
favorite.
Miami.
Yeah. All right. And they said, "Oh, this kid's smart. We're going to put him on the cash register." And I said, well, "Cash register? What's a cash?" It's a little... So they put me at the bar, and the cash register is like the size of two Buicks. I mean, it is huge. I'm already intimidated
Yeah.
by
So
the
they
size
thought
of
you
this.
were honest and scared.
And smarter than I was. So I'm at the cash register. The place is full. I believe like Al Martino was appearing.
Oh, I love
or
Al
Buddy
Martino.
Greco.
Yeah.
Or somebody like that was appearing. And the place is full.
By the way,
And-
his daughter's on Instagram.
I know, I see her all the time. She's great.
Allison.
Yeah. And I get set up, dinner starts, and then the waiters start coming. And the first one comes over to me and says, 73.60 out of 120. Okay, all right. Here.
And back then they didn't have like the actual change to give.
No,
yeah,
I figured in my head. All right. And
I'm already impressed.
Yeah, no, well, don't be. So I almost get that one. It's another waiter saying 42.50 out of 68.73, and they also told me you have to divide up the money in a certain way so that they get the tips. In other words, if you put it out in like $5 bills, they'll get $5 tips.
Yeah.
All right, so I'm trying to figure $5 bills. It's 80.73 out of 122. Now I look up, and there are like 5 waiters in line, and they're already getting pissed. Now I get to a point where
You know what happens when they get pissed?
can't. They call it Vinny Bumazzo who's going to come in,
Tony Big Nose is going to come in and give you a whack.
and so eventually it was almost like being on the conveyor belt. These guys are lined up and they're throwing these numbers. I can't do it. I just can't do it. And the drawer would open up automatically and go back and shutting. And it's opening. My hand's getting caught in it.
Is it dinging?
You know the line you got your hand was caught in the till? My hand was caught in the till.
Literally.
So they moved me from there after they realized I couldn't do it to the hat check room.
Oh.
Where I became one of the hat check girls at
Oh,
the
I
round
love
table.
that. I was a coat check girl at a really fancy place.
But the mob would come in and they said to me, look, when these come in the hat check, you're the first people. You see them.
You try on all their coats.
There are
and shit.
certain guys
Furs.
who will come in. I'll give you the exact phrase they gave me. They'll come in like they own the joint. Well, you know what, Stevie? They own the joint. So understand that.
Were they checking their guns too? Were they packing?
They usually
They
put
were
under
packing,
the,
but
yeah,
they
under the
but they
table.
never checked. They never checked the guns.
And the women,
So-
the girls.
I like how you go like this.
Well, the women, and they always had furs. There was a restaurant my friend's parents owned, the ticker tape, and they would come in, and we always would check the coats, and then we'd try them on in the back. They were always furs, and they always had money in the pocket. We were like, thank you. I worked at a video store, and anyone with late fees, I was like, that is 2 days late. That's $2. Thank
Okay,
you very much.
You made it up?
But I did get fired from my hosting job at Pat and Mario's because
Mario Bombazzo, too?
Mario Big Nose. Yeah,
Okay,
no.
all right.
Tony Two Chins. Remember Two Chins?
Yeah, Tony
Vincenzo?
Chicate.
And he pretended he was crazy.
Yeah,
for those
yeah,
years in the
yeah,
bathroom.
sure.
Anyway, so this woman came in. She was really rude, and from the get-go. And I was like, oh, table for two, smoking, non-smoking. Who are you joking? Would you like to be by the lake? Like, I had a whole fucking shtick down.
The way her brain works.
Oh my God.
Yeah, or not.
Yeah,
Doesn't
yeah,
work.
yeah.
So anyway, she had an attitude right from the start, and I was like, I don't like her. So she starts being a bitch, and I was like, what's up? Like, what's with the attitude? And we go back and forth. I go, you know what? You're the kind of woman that puts like a fake insect in her food to get a free meal. She was the health inspector. I was fired on the spot.
Oh, good reading the room. Excellent.
Read the room, Jillian. I remember Nils.
Did you ever pee in anybody's?
Oh God, no!
Okay.
Ew,
Ew.
Yeah.
Wait, you worked at Burger something.
Burger Balls, Burger King.
Yeah.
I was also fired from there. He said I was a disgrace to the uniform. I said, thank God. It's polyester. It was
polyester.
brown and orange.
Okay,
and
not
white.
even my story, but since you mentioned furs, a friend of mine, flight attendant forever, Diana Ross comes on the flight, and everybody's like, ooh, and she's wearing a fur.
Okay.
And she says to my friend, the flight attendant, put this in the safest place on the plane.
Oh, no, no. I know where you'd put it.
So when he served her first drink, he was wearing it, which was, he took a chance.
That's cool.
She
That's
She
cool.
laughed.
Bravo, that's
cool.
awesome. There's a great video of Diana Ross running through an airport in a cat suit, and they interview this little old white lady at the end. It's the greatest news clip ever. And you think she's going to be like, you know, and I don't know, she was being chased by something, and the lady goes, and because Diana Ross, I think at the time was 58. And the little old lady goes, and the nerve of her to have a body like that at 58. And it got on the news. It was the greatest clip because it's Diana Ross.
Got another job that
Yes.
I'm
Okay.
reminded of now. When I was a teenager, I had a band with my friend.
Free Willy.
And it wasn't Free Willy, but it was Free Willy. Okay. So, and we got a job in the old Catskill Mountains, which still existed then,
nice.
Yeah.
at a hotel. I don't remember the name of it. I call it Schlockman's Inn.
Were you a drummer?
Is that because
I
that's
was,
my
yeah,
dentist?
He was Dr. Schlockman. So,
He knows the name of my dentist.
and so
Weird.
we get to this place, and they showed us this like closet. Put your instruments there, and they said, "Oh, by the way, a little room because this is also where you sleep." Okay, so that's the setup for this.
Yeah.
So we would eat in the kitchen. The food was terrible there, but in the kitchen it was worse, and we would eat in the kitchen. And then at night, we'd play in what they call the casino or the playhouse, and people would come, and we da 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 da, da, and then we realized a lot of those people are old, and if we start doing boom, ba da 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 da, ba,
Wake 'em up.
They all got up and left. We would play like, "Come on, baby." Do the twist.
twist.
They couldn't twist because it hurt.
Of course.
It hurt.
Were you just a drummer? Did you sing?
Oh, just,
Let
me tell you.
I was hardly a drummer, and I sang a little, and I couldn't sing. But as soon as we did the rock and roll, I would sing, and I
You
swear,
people think I have a good voice too, singing, because we have that raspy voice.
yeah, but I don't.
Don't, me
Yeah,
neither.
Yeah, and the old people would first of all dance a little bit, and you could see it would hurt. You know,
So they'd sit back down.
no, they'd
Kinda
leave, and we
chair
so
dancing?
long. It's good to know you're
You
so.
know, I have a crazy story like that.
What's that?
But it's not me. My birth family, my grandfather, so my birth dad's sister and his father,
Sister and father.
they had a station wagon, and his daughter was dating Brian Jones, and they had just formed the Rolling Stones, and he would drive them.
The Rolling Stones?
Yeah, they were just formed, and Keith and Mick and Brian, they had just hired the fourth, Bill Wyman, and they were
Thank you, producer
teenagers.
Scott.
They were 18, 17, 18, and he would drive them to clubs, and they would cram in the drum, everything into this little van thing, and he would drive them, and they were underage, and he would set them up in the club. My grandfather. Is that
Oh my
fucking
God.
crazy?
Oh, I got one.
Give me
And Brian
Mick.
Jones named the band the Rolling Stones, and there was such.
Why?
This is the one.
Why? Why was it called Rolling Stones?
I believe blues. Brian was really into the blues, and he loved Muddy Waters.
Yeah,
and
Muddy
there was-
Waters, Rolling Stone. Yeah,
Yeah.
like
But there was a lot of problems after. So this is the woman, my cousin, who ended up with Donovan, and she has 2 daughters with Donovan. But there was a lot of problems because Brian died 3 weeks after they kicked him out of the band that he created.
Yeah.
And so Mick and Keith didn't go to the funeral, but Bill Wyman and Charlie Watts did. And I think, it was just a lot of family lore. Like I get the stories from all the family that were there in the 60s. And I spent Christmas with them, which was incredible. And Brian Jones' grandson, who was in a band as well, sang Wild Horses. They were called Public.
How did he die? I don't remember.
He drowned
yeah, he drowned.
in
That's
his
right.
pool.
Yeah.
And he bought the house from
Was he on
the man
drugs?
who wrote
was
Winnie the Pooh.
Was he drugged out when he drowned?
That I'm not sure. They were having a party. I'm sure, it was,
Hey, remember the Dave Clark 5?
yeah.
All right. So again, about that same age, when I was about 19 or whatever it was, my cousin was their agent when they came over to America.
They were huge.
So my cousin calls my
Where are
father.
all the best bands, British?
It was just in that moment. It was a time. It was a moment. But
British invasion.
it was all these white guys in Britain were doing what all the people, the black musicians were doing here,
100%.
and making all the money.
100%.
Okay, so my cousin Jackie, who's their agent, calls my father and said, I got a job for Steve, a summer tour, Dave Clark 5. He can be the road manager for the Dave Clark 5. And my father, who knew me well, said, are you kidding? Are you kidding?
No, that would be brutal.
Steve needs a road manager.
Yeah.
If they can hire them to road manage him, I could
You'd
understand.
be a good shrink for them.
I
but-
thought you were going to say maybe like, fill in as a drummer. No. That would be the worst
I have
job
a
for you.
friend whose dad.
Wrangling that kind of
me,
music.
no, worse.
I have a friend whose dad wrangled like Rod Stewart
Oh, yeah.
and Paul
Back in the day.
McCartney and everybody, and he said the whole job is get up,
Yeah.
dragging their asses
Yeah.
out of
Can
bed.
you
It's the
imagine
whole
doing
job.
that with Black Sabbath, like Ozzy?
Right.
Sharon had to, because Sharon's dad was there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
Right now, at this moment, I have a lot of family on the road.
Yeah.
My son's on the road with his band.
Well, your son and your daughter
My
are
daughter-in-law
both
is on
musicians, and your daughter-in-law.
on the road. I got like
Steve
three
has very
different
cool
people.
kids.
Very
Yeah,
cool
they're,
kids.
they're all on the road. They all
Very
report,
talented.
They all report back where they are, and I look at did they do box
You have
office? How did they
good-looking
do?
kids, talented kids, all like musicians.
Do you follow them on
married
the
to
phone?
musicians.
We're so close.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'm FaceTiming with them. They're on the bus in
I
the
remember
middle of the
one
night.
time-
Even when
You know how I
Nash,
loved
Nash
Vogue?
did a semester abroad, and
Yeah.
you know my husband, he knew where
Where?
he was at every improv.
Oh, we have Find
he
My
knew where he
Friends.
was at every moment.
I'm
He's like,
right.
I think that's a bar.
You know what?
Yeah.
Ruby made me turn.
By the way, do
hers
you both
off when
do
she
you
was
both do
18.
you both do Find My Friends, right?
Well, I don't know what that is.
Where you can see
You
where
can
they
know where
are on
Ruby
your phone.
is.
Yeah, but
You
she
can
has to
know.
have hers on.
Yeah.
She goes, well, I'm 18 now.
At a certain point, sometimes they turn it off.
She did, and I was like, oh, okay.
My granddaughter, who by the way is graduating,
Jeez. Graduating what?
and from high school,
Holy
and,
crap.
you know her, Molly.
Yes, little Molly,
little,
we know her
little
as.
6 feet tall Molly.
Wow.
So I always know where she is all the time.
Mm-hmm.
So once in a while, I'm saying, "Look like you're in the woods with somebody."
Oh,
Les."
gosh.
So it's coming soon that she's going to
She's
shut
gonna
me
turn it
out.
off.
She's going to shut me out. There's no question about it.
Absolutely. And here's why those, I think I am a little overprotective. But if you follow in the world what's happening, that little girl, Athena, that beautiful little 10-year-old girl or 9, she gets picked up by this UPS creep.
Oh, God, yes.
The transcript is just absolutely fucking horrific. However, you did the right thing. The jury gave him the death penalty. Bravo. I know you guys are not for the death penalty. I am.
No. Who are you looking at?
I was.
Who are you talking to? You talking to me?
It's debatable.
No. I'm not opposed to the death penalty.
Okay. Because
Can I tell you why?
Is the best.
Let me tell you why. Let me
reason
tell you
for
why.
death
I don't like
penalty.
that we're now going to start going back to shooting people.
Oh my God, the executions. That's
Don't like
a little
that.
bizarre.
I'll tell you why. And I used to be the other way.
I know.
I used to be the other. I used to be like Dorothy. Just bleeding
I know,
heart.
I just say I couldn't
Yeah.
flip the switch, so it's hard for me to say I
I
believe in it
could, if
because
it was
I couldn't
him,
do
I'd
it.
be like, fucking.
And that's
that
also
sucker.
there's a lot
I
of
see her
things.
face.
There's a lot of things I can't and won't do that I think should be done. I
Yeah.
think this is always a fallacious argument. But think about this: somebody gets killed. Let's say a 28-year-old woman gets killed, and she
How?
has a guy shoots her.
Okay.
All right, and it's a robbery, and he shoots her. And okay.
That's not death penalty.
All right. Well, just go with me on
Sorry.
this. Okay. So, depends what state you're in. So, this woman now has 2 children whose lives have been changed forever.
Yes.
Forever. Her husband's life changed forever.
So
her
does that person deserve to live?
Her parents, okay. So the guy who shoots her, he's 28 years old. He's going to live on the taxpayer dime for the next 60 years. 3 meals a day, watching you on television,
Sending you letters.
No, what I'm saying. So this guy will have a whole, it may not be a great life, a whole life, and meanwhile, generations don't exist because of him.
My
You're
husband,
telling me this.
being a reporter,
I'm telling you this.
Yes,
I'm
has
sorry.
sat through executions
Yeah.
as part of the job.
Yeah.
They always have reporters
Yeah,
there.
yes.
I don't think it changed his mind about the death penalty, but it's not an easy thing to sit there and watch somebody die, sometimes slowly.
But you got to think of the victims. So
Well-
I'm
Yes.
an advocate with Deborah Tate, and I've faced the Manson killers. I've faced them many times. I've been to the governor's office to overturn, and
Because
Jerry-
Sharon was how old when she
Sharon was
was
26 and her baby was full term.
viciously murdered.
And, 5 others, as we say 5 others, but J.C.
Yeah,
Green,
5 other lives, yeah.
Abigail Folger
Yeah, yeah.
and Wojciech Frykowski. And of course, I spoke on behalf of the LaBiancas one time.
Who was the young guy who was just there?
J.C. Bring.
Okay.
He wasn't just there. He was very good friend.
No, wasn't there a younger guy?
Stephen Parent.
Yeah, that's what I meant. Yeah.
So I spoke on behalf of the LaBiancas at the Tex Watson hearing, and he was there both nights. He did horrible things. He said, I'm the devil and I'm here to do the devil's business. And he carnage everywhere. So Deborah and I, Sharon Tate's sister, have been to these things. And, none of them, they did get the death penalty in 71. It was overturned. And so they've had a life. And not only they've had a life, Tex Watson has fathered 4 children, okay, in prison.
All right.
Those children have all gone to universities.
Explain to me the mindset of the women who had children with
Well,
them.
she married him. They are now divorced. He became a born-again Christian in prison. He became very good friends with Susan LaBerge, who is one of the murdered a daughter of one of the murdered people. And, she was very much against the death penalty for him, which was overturned eventually. And it's just a sad thing that I see Deborah Tate's whole life has been trying to keep these people behind bars. And guess what? One of them got out a couple of years ago.
Did she
Leslie
have
Van
cancer?
Houten got out. She helped to kill Rosemary LaBianca.
Did she have cancer? Was that why she
No,
got
that's
out?
Susan. No,
Susan
Leslie's
Atkins?
healthy.
Okay.
Susan Atkins had brain cancer and her legs were chopped off. Oh, well. She died in prison, but they lobbied to get her out. Leslie was 19, and they keep saying, well, she was so young at the time. Ruth Morehouse was 14. I mean, let's not say at 19. I knew what I was doing at 19. It wasn't stabbing a woman in the back while her husband was dying in the next room while she was listening. They were laughing at Rosemary. They had a pillowcase over her head and a cord around her neck. And they said, she looked like a chicken
Do you ever think
running
you know
around.
too much?
Do I know
this
too
stuff?
much?
Why do you
I
think?
do.
Why do you think you're so attracted to murder porn?
I feel like you started murder
know.
porn, and then everybody else did
I
a
know.
podcast.
It's justice for me. I get very angry that these fucking assholes get to breathe the same air as us and appeal and appeal and appeal. Murder children. Get out. I don't. It's not right. And that's why this asshole who just got the death penalty, he's going to appeal and appeal and appeal. Who knows what's going to happen? But I want to see him dead for what he did to that little innocent
Okay,
girl.
let me bring it down for
And
a
if
moment.
you listen to
Does
the
any of
transcript-
this?
I'll go along with that for him.
And
yes.
she's saying,
So
what
you
are you
believe-
doing to me?
Oh, I'm
I
sorry.
mean, I've always
She said, my mom says
wrestled.
this is really
it's
bad.
like abortion. I've always, wrestled
Yeah.
with these things. I don't know that it's our choice. Steve will call me church lady to take a life.
I haven't called you church lady yet. Okay, church
Yeah,
lady.
he's called her
Now
on
you
the
have.
show.
So I don't know. But yes, you made a very convincing
Yeah.
argument.
I mean,
Well,
it's got to be. By the way,
survivors
it's
go
got to
off
be.
their
It's got to be. It's got to be done right. It shouldn't be that people who have money and support
now
get out.
we
Wait,
have
let me finish. Let me
DNA.
finish.
We have DNA
Let me
now.
finish. It shouldn't be that people who have good lawyers and money and resources don't get the death penalty, and people who don't have that
Well, it
do.
is.
Well, that's always been
Yeah.
part of the argument.
Yeah,
But now
it's
with
unfair.
DNA, you can have 99.99999.
Oh, yeah, now we know.
And they're catching people that did this shit back in the 70s. Ha ha, you asshole serial killers that went around like Golden State Killer. You're getting found now because of DNA testing and because of sites like Ancestry.com. So, however, you've got to think about the families of these victims. They live now, their whole life is trying to keep the bad guys in prison. That's fucking wrong. They should be able to go live their life knowing that this person is going to be in prison the rest of their life. No, they don't.
Let me just
They
say.
have to-
No, even, think about the Sandy Hook families.
Let me just say. Let's not get started with that.
Okay, Alex
No,
Jones.
Alex Jones. I know where we're
I
gonna
just
go.
mean the hell they've been put through.
How about
So-
Alex?
Far
He
and
got-
beyond losing
How
a
about-
child.
Alex
Okay,
went
sorry.
on TV and he's like, I'm getting a divorce. I want privacy for my kids. And I wrote, you don't have kids. You don't have kids. They don't exist.
On
False flag.
every level of hell
That
in
we're
that,
in.
in that story,
Yep.
and these kids getting killed, to make it worse, let's say you're the parent of a child who was killed, and now you're getting threatening emails and texts
From crazy people.
from crazy people because Alex Jones said you're an actor and it never happened.
And
to
by
you.
the way, we are now
Imagine that.
making it legal in this country to mail a gun in the mail. I mean, people never get their mail anyway, but now you might have a gun in the mail
Oh my God.
because we don't have enough guns. Anyway, Should we change the topic, Steve?
Well, we're talking about
You and all
jobs.
your
Can we talk
topics?
about
No, this was
let's
jobs.
talk about the
We're
Met
talking
Ball.
about jobs.
I was
You
a
started-
waitress at a creperie.
Yeah.
I wasn't very good.
You started thinking that your story that I left without quitting
I didn't
was a
quit.
story. We're working for the mob. There's life and
No, but I want
death.
to talk about the Met Ball really quick.
I did nothing.
There was such.
Okay, that's why I'm the nipple
No, but
thing.
that's
The
not
Met Ball
fine.
was so long
No,
ago.
It's fine.
No, but everybody's naked now.
No,
Naked
it's
is the
not
new clothing.
The story is the backlash of Jeff Bezos.
Yeah.
That's the story. And Anna
Lauren-
Wintour
and Lauren,
taking so much
He
shit.
did
like,
not walk the red carpet with Lauren, but he was there.
Yeah, but the big story is that
Well, New York was not having it. The mayor wasn't
but-
there.
put a huge. Did you see what they did to the? They have 2 floors, I guess. Like it's a $126 million property up there, and they put videos of workers of Amazon. I mean, the backlash, and I thought, wow. And
Lauren, poor Lauren Sanchez is
she's
getting so much crap, and I
yeah.
feel bad. I actually feel bad for her.
And the dress that she wore, I think people thought it was like a little boring and low key for the event.
was-
but that is my favorite
care about a
painting,
dress.
Madam
I
X.
love that.
Every time I'm in New York, I go John Singer Sargent. It's a painting of a woman wearing basically that dress.
Yeah, absolutely. That
I
dress.
love that painting. It's haunting.
Absolutely.
Now, if there's a good cause there, it gets lost
Yep.
because the
You're
reason
raising money for the arts.
yeah, but nobody cares about that.
Well, they picked
It's
$10
happened.
million
Here, I had an argument with a friend of mine.
I mean, the Met is the best museum in the world.
I had a.
It's incredible.
Okay.
I've never been.
No.
I'm speaking up for many museums in Europe who are pissed at you right
oh
now.
my God.
So here's something to talk about.
Dorsey,
I had this
Yeah,
argument.
say Dorsey.
I had an argument with a friend of mine about people who do wonderful things in terms of contributing to charities and hospitals, but they
They
really
screw
only
everybody
do,
around them.
They only do it to get their name on the side of the building.
You always said humanitarians are usually the worst people.
When I used to MC a lot of those charity things, I would say like every Monday night I'd be at some hotel like the Beverly Hilton
With
or
1,000 people.
giving an award, the humanitarian of the year, to a complete asshole.
Yeah.
Because it was somebody who had power or could raise a lot of money. They were never humanitarians.
Well, when I was first working for the charity, many kids that I work with, and you said to me, you got to honor rich people. If you don't honor rich people, you won't make money.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, one of the discussions that Dorothy and I had, when we had a lot of these, and we still do.
We used to talk,
I've
Steve.
always believed that if I do something of a charitable nature,
Excuse me.
do it quietly. In other words, that's part of the charity. You do it to give.
Mm-hmm.
You don't give it to say, look at me, I'm a good person, I'm a wonderful human being. Your argument to me was,
Well, I mean, I understand that, but also the Bible says, don't hide your light under a bushel.
the Bible says everything to contradict everything.
I know.
With the Met, Anna Wintour, it was a very selective
Mm-hmm.
event. She handpicked the people. It wasn't, you couldn't buy your way in. That was the big thing.
Well, and
She-
I think it's like $75,000 just
That's
for a
all.
ticket, and you have to be invited to
That might-
pay the
Yeah,
yeah, you have to be
$75,000.
invited.
It
to
might
pay
have gone
that.
up
Do
now.
you get a
No, it's
sandwich?
different now. But so the whole thing was that, if you pay 10
One
million,
drink.
and it was sort of the 1%ers now.
Cash bar.
And it's changed. It's supposed to be the people's,
Yeah.
and Anna Wintour was.
That's the
and
people's?
she's gone now.
That's the people,
It's
75,000?
Yeah.
You kids.
Oh, what are we cheersing to?
Nah.
Us.
Being a
new-
1%er
whoa.
being poor?
A new title for our
Oh, yeah. What are we?
pod.
So
So unanchored.
So unanchored.
So we fought for like 6 months on the title, and you guys changed it before I even
Yeah,
had a chance
it
to
happened
pee and
today.
sit down. Weren't we on
Yeah.
live once with you, and you went and peed, and
And I left my mic on.
probably.
At the NFL, when I worked there, they had so many mics on, right?
Yeah.
One dropped out. Terry and all those guys, big, hulking 300-pound men, they would get my pack would be this big on a Dolce & Gabbana dress, right? Weighed 10 pounds. Had to have 2 of them. Terry and Howie would get
the team,
mics
yeah,
like this big
yeah.
on the back of their suit. What? And they'd match their lapels.
Uh.
Yeah, you're just the weather chick. We got to strap 2 of these on.
Houston Music Theater many years ago. Do you know the name Anna Maria Alberghetti?
Yes.
She used to be a star. Okay.
No.
She's doing a musical. It's a Theater in the Round.
It's when Steve was young.
Theater in the Round.
Okay.
And she exits with the applause for the next act, and she runs up the aisle. And then you hear,
Oh, shut up!
they didn't turn her mic off. They had mics.
No.
And in those days, so you hear,
You know, if that was me, I would just keep walking and never be seen again.
and then you hear the toilet.
Oh,
and then you hear the toilet, and then she comes back out to sing a song. Everybody knows what happens except her. All right.
Maybe that's for the good.
Wait,
Yeah,
what
it was
happened
for the
once
good.
on the show, and I think you and I had been fired by then, but you were in the bathroom,
No, we were there.
and all the housewives, I forget, they were the housewives from New York, maybe,
yeah.
and they were all talking, because there was sort of like a little green room where the
Yeah,
bathroom was.
Yeah.
And weren't they saying like it was the stupidest show, and Steve then walks out
Oh
of the
yeah, we
bathroom.
definitely weren't there.
Yeah.
You know,
There's a story there. All the players wrong. But
What was it?
It was Maria Sansone was there. We had the housewives on, and I was doing my thing about. Cause to me, the housewife thing is an empty,
so silly,
stupid
yeah.
thing. And it took me years to realize these women take it seriously.
Oh, shit.
I think they're all in on the joke. You know.
Yeah.
Okay. So I interviewed them that way. It wasn't terrible. She goes up to go to the bathroom. You know, you got the 2 minutes. Go upstairs.
Sure.
Remember what that's
Gotta
like.
run.
She goes in the bathroom, and then she's in there, and she hears them coming in saying, God, who booked us on this effing show?
It wasn't-
Piece
it
of
wasn't you,
crap."
it was
No.
Maria.
And so she's in there saying, I have to leave. I have to open the door. What do I do? You know, I'm going to fire the publicist. This fucking thing. Well, how could you? She said she opened the door and did kind of like,
hi, ladies.
hi.
And it was
hi.
in New York.
I'd be like,
Yeah,
yes,
it
I
was
won't
New York.
see you again.
Yeah, it was New York. It was New York.
I had so many of those mics on that when I did use the restroom at like 8:45 before we went live at 9, Lisa Ashley, the makeup artist, would say, do you want me to help you turn them off? And I'd say, oh, I'm leaving them on. If the guys want to listen to me take a leak, I have no problem with that. Like, I just didn't give a shit. You want to hear me leak? It's happening,
No,
gentlemen.
I believe,
If
pardon me, I believe you gave a shit.
No, I didn't. That's why I did.
Yeah.
I left them on.
You
I
would've
only
turned it
peed.
off for that.
I would have turned it off for number.
Forgive me,
number two.
God. If there's a
I
God,
wasn't a
forgive
singer.
me, okay?
Okay.
All right.
I say that after every show.
She came
I
back
have for
singing,
20 years.
This show went so well at the end, and then she had no. And
All right,
somebody told
we're
her,
going to wrap this on. The next one, you know, what I want to talk about, if you can like it, UFOs.
oh God, okay,
If
Art.
Who's Art Bell?
Yes.
That's so many years ago.
I don't know, but I worked at
there's,
KBC.
there's a lot since then.
And Art Bell.
Okay, the
There's,
government.
there's
I don't
n-
believe in all
there's
that
new
shit.
stuff.
Yeah, the government is releasing
You know what?
material
All
now.
bullshit.
Don't make a face. Don't make it. Be open
Make a
to
face.
it.
I'm
Be
not
open to
because
it.
now we have phones. And
Okay.
we can see. Where are they? We don't have anything. They don't exist.
But not to get into it, because we will get into it, but these are people that you would trust and believe, people in the military who see things
on
and
the,
go,
on the next.
If we have another one.
So unanchored.
You are so unanchored if you believe in UFOs.
And here's something, if you know us, I've just promoted that. We've talked about it.
We'll never
We'll
do
forget
it.
that we ever
We used to,
mentioned
okay,
it.
on Good Day
Watch
LA,
out.
we used to do that. They called it a deep tease. At the
Yeah.
top of the show,
That's
we
a
would
UFO.
tease something that we were
That
going
was
to
a
do
sombrero.
in like 20 minutes, and we never, ever did it.
That's right.
Shut up. I'm going to
It's
sleep. Bye, everybody. See you
so
later.
long. Thank you
does
for
it
being
always
with
look
us.
like the same
Oh, by the
thing?
way, I do want to close.
Oh.
Do want to close with
You want to beg people to
Yes.
hang with
Oh,
us.
yeah.
we never. First of all, subscribe immediately. Right. If you're still hanging on, you're still there. Subscribe. You can like and do all of that stuff. Tell your friends about all of this, if you would, please. And we
And
leave.
apologize.
And we leave you with these thoughts: be kind,
And vote.
be forgiving, and shut up. Come on, this is my dramatic close.
Sorry. Boo. I didn't even mention the art show. Go ahead.
Big finish.
Oh, wait a minute. Let's make.
Okay, really quickly. I'm in an art
Yeah,
show, and if I
yeah.
win, I get $25,000.
This is the Johnny Depp art show.
Yes,
Yeah.
and if I win, I get $25,000. I'm going to give it to my
Didn't we
daughter
talk about
for
this?
school. No, but we don't even have
We
to
talked
put this
about
part
it.
in.
Before the show.
You sure?
Yeah,
You're not sure.
I don't know. I don't know.
peoplesartist.org.
We talked about it today at some point.
/2026 /Jillian-Barbary. Nobody's
And we're going to
gonna
put it
remember.
on our social media.
Yes. Vote for Jill. Vote for Jill.
Yes.
Vote for.
I voted. Do I get a little
Thank
sticker?
you. And you can vote every 24 hours.
An astute friend of mine, by the way, who's watching this and thinks this is
Watching this.
great. And
No touching, please.
by the way, are we going to go live at any point?
Oh, that'd be so
Yeah,
much
we have to
fun.
go live.
Okay.
We have to go live.
Yeah.
All right, touch me. Don't touch me. All right, so, goodbye.
So unanchored.